Hello? Oh, it's you! You're back. How splendid. What's that? Who am I? Oh, don't worry. You'll find that out soon enough. Now, please, have a seat. Make yourself comfortable. Let us return to our tale as Song, Morningstar, Prince Fruner and Moonbeam finally enter the house with two names. So, last time, your three characters, Song, the fairy mage, Prince Fruner, the valiant knight, and his magical talking horse Moonbeam, and of course Morningstar, the harpy songbird minstrel. You were all gathered to the small town of Towerview to celebrate a housewarming party. You were invited by a young couple, Charles and Kyla, but upon your arrival you learned that there was something amiss. The housewarming party unfortunately was cancelled because there's been some strange phenomena occurring in Charles and Kyla's newly purchased home. After some investigation in the local tavern and inn, you learn that the house is very, very, very old, previously owned by an elfish family. It was built potentially centuries ago by Augustus van Vendelow, who was also known apparently for being a very good carpenter, a good craftsman. You learned that there was some kind of family trouble with the Van Vendelows. Augustus had two daughters, and that they were never seen together out and about. He was seen sometimes, and it was remarked upon that in his later years he seemed particularly downtrodden and weary, and he would often go to the local shrine to pray by himself. You overheard some children having an argument, and one of them mentioned to you that he knows a talking tree of some kind in the nearby woods. You learned that they bought the house from a mysterious gentleman called Mr. Grunch. The house is in some way split down the middle, making rooms inaccessible or non-traversable. And you have volunteered to help Charles and Kyla by investigating and hopefully finding a solution to their problem so that they can move in. So you just finished having your conversation with the little child Jan, and you are on your way to the supposedly haunted Van Vendelow house up on the hill. What would you like to do?
So as we're walking up the hill to the house, I am just super enchanted at the idea of the talking tree. Morningstar had forgotten that Song had a mentor that was a talking tree, and so I've started peppering Song with some questions just as we're going up. I'm a little distracted because I'm like, what, a talking tree? Cool. And I've pulled out my little notebook and I'm trying to write in it as I'm hopping along up the street.
I'm kind of answering Morningstar, just very excited to talk more about my mentor. And I'm sort of like, oh, yeah, well, Toya, he's a treekin and he's very, very cool and very, very ancient. And I've been studying the magical arts under him for a few years now and really, really been enjoying it. So he doesn't live in the forest exactly. He lives in a very, very big, tall house. But I also thought that Jan's story was very, very interesting.
Maybe after this we can go find that talking tree. I really wanna go say hi.
Did anyone remember to bring some drinks for the party?
I've got a water flask.
I have some herbs and spices. We could make a little bit of tea.
Yeah, we can work with that.
All right. But, first we should probably figure out what's going on with the house, I guess. Okay. You can see she's visibly realigning herself to the task. Right. House mystery. Let's go figure it out, right?
Yeah, we'll just go in and ask the ghosts.
Cool. Yeah. So that's what we do. I think we get to the house, right? Unless there's anything else along the way.
There's nobody really about in this area, sort of something that you kind of notice whilst you're having this conversation and you get nearer the top of the hill. is that this sort of area seems to have not really been traversed much for quite a long time. So you don't meet anybody. Eventually, after a fairly steep climb, you get up to the house. And it is a very old looking, but very, very splendid looking house. You feel like in its prime, this house was quite magnificent to look at. It is almost entirely made of wood, like it was almost carved from one giant solid piece of wood. There is a fence wall surrounding the house. The path that you're on kind of spirals around the house. So you are at the house's level at the top of the hill, but the path continues onwards to the other side. And the entrance in the fence wall, and there's like a gravel path that goes up to the front to a set of front doors. This one has the name Anna in cast iron letters over the front gate.
I think I would love to start kind of as we're entering by doing a detect magic. That's one of my skills. So I think that I think Song would kind of want to get a little bit of a lay of the land if there's anything that I can gain just sort of from this exterior.
Yeah, absolutely. You are using one of your skills. So that would give you advantage on the action, whether you are spending points or rolling a die. What would you prefer?
This is a wit, yes, for detecting magic.
Yes, I'd say so.
Since we're just getting started, I will roll a dice, and so that's +1. I actually rolled a 6, so that's a 7.
Okay, so that is a complete success plus another inspiration. So now you've got 2 future inspired actions that you can use. How does it look like for you when you are detecting magic? Is it something visual? Do you make things glow with an aura? Is the aura only perceivable to you? Tell us what it looks like.
So the way that I kind of visualize this is that Song sort of flies up and gets almost like a bird's eye view of the area and kind of looks around, and especially just like keeps an eye out for magical energy, magical objects. I think that usually when she looks for stuff, there's maybe like just a faint aura around it. It's something that's available to Song kind of, and then can be shared with, with others after kind of flying up and taking a little peek around.
Excellent. Do you see your skill also sort of telling you the kind of magic? Whether it's something that's kind of naturally occurring or whether it's something artificial in some way? How does it manifest to you? And then before you share it with the others?
My first thought is, that I've kind of started to learn how to discern different magical auras. That it's maybe not necessarily 100% foolproof, or there's some stuff that I can't quite detect. Since this was a higher roll, maybe I was able to detect it here, but that I can vaguely tell like different types of magic. I think that's probably something that I'm learning with Toya. So a vague sense of like, oh, this might be illusion, or this might be like nature magic, kind of a general sense, I think.
Then with such a successful roll, so you've flown up and you're getting your fairy's eye view of the house, being receptive to like magical energies, any magical energies around the house or in the house. And what happens is that to your eyes, the house sort of starts to shimmer and glow. It keeps kind of flaring up with this sort of magical aura. It will get very, very bright, very, very intense, and then it will start to dim again, and then it will flare up again. So it's kind of, but it's not sort of like regular intervals. It's kind of erratic. But when it does glow brightly, you get the sensation that there is definitely a lot of magical energy in this house. But as for the type of magic, because it's so erratic, you can't get a clear fix on what sort of origin it has. Not yet, anyway.
I think I kind of like grab my head and kind of fly down, and I'm like, woof, guys, this house is pretty magical. And I sort of shake my hands around. I'm like, it's really, really completely magical all over the place. Actually, the whole house is just covered in it, and I can't quite tell what type, but it's all over the place here.
Wow. Well, I don't know how to break magic spells. Do you? Maybe I was thinking before you found out about that maybe we could try coming in from opposite doors because there's two doors, right? So we could try one of us comes from one side and the other person comes from the other side, and like maybe we try and meet in the middle. I don't know. Did they try that? Should we try that?
Go for it.
Maybe Morningstar and I can take one of the gates, and then Prince and Moonbeam can take the other.
I've stopped for a second. I'm looking at Moonbeam and at Prince, and I start thinking out loud, what if you seem to like mischief, Prince? Do you want to try going in through a window?
Oh, hell yeah, that sounds like fun. Moonbeam, Moonbeam, are you able to fit through one of those?
Nay.
Ah, right. I don't know, because we could try 3 points of entry and see what happens.
If my liege, you insist on entering through a window, I can give you a boost if you wish, but unfortunately, I don't think I can fit.
Thanks, Moonbeam, you can stand guard.
Yes, I could do that. Perhaps if you were to gain access through a window, you could then find some other means of entrance for me. I say this it's not a question of trust. You understand? It's just as your advisor and your assistant, I would think it remiss of me to let you go in by yourself.
I got your back, bro. I'll try to find a way to let you in.
Ah, yes, thank you. Then I will wait outside until you can find a way for me to enter as well. Yes, I'm sure everything will be fine.
Well, Moonbeam, if you want to, you can come with me. We'll go in the other door and you could come in with me and we could, try and find Prince inside.
If I have my liege's leave.
Sure, go for it. I'm sure you'll be a major help to them. You're the wisest person I know, Moonbeam.
Oh, it's very kind of you to say, my prince. Well, I will see you inside then. Yes, it will be no time at all, I'm sure. Yes. And with that, Moonbeam seems a little less concerned, only slightly. So, Morningstar and Song, Charles and Kyla gave you the keys. So there's a set of keys that are engraved with an A, and there's another set of keys that are engraved with a C. So you use the Anna keys to enter this door. Meanwhile, Prince, are you looking for a window on the other side of the house?
I'll just go for the nearest window.
Oh, okay. Brilliant. Let's see. So you go around the various windows. They are all closed. Here I'm making an assumption, but I was assuming that since this is the house of your friends, you would preferably not break any windows to get in. Would that be a correct assumption?
Yes.
Gosh, that sounded convincing. You kind of go around the corner, so now you are out of line of sight with the entrance that your companions have gone through. So you're now on one of the other sides of the house, and you do see a window that is open. You also see a figure wearing a cloak and a hood, and they are standing near that window. They are just a little bit over half your height, and their face is hidden by a hood.
The prince just calls over to it right away and says, "Yo, what's up with the heavy cloak? Is it cold inside?"
They don't reply, but you see a spindly looking hand, like it has very long fingers and they're all very sort of thin, emerge from the folds of the hooded cloak. It gestures for you to come closer.
I go over to it.
Greetings, my prince. Prince Fruner, is it not?
That's right. What are you doing in my
you-
friend's house? Well, I guess not my friend's house, but the friend of my horse is my friend, I guess.
Ha ha ha, I see. Forgive my intrusion, but you see, I couldn't help overhearing you and your companions talking of this house and your plan to assist the young couple who purchased it. I believe you are planning to investigate whether or not the house is affected by some kind of phenomena.
Yeah, we figure the house is haunted, so we're coming over here to talk to the ghosts and party.
I see. And you are, of course, you are blessed with the spectral eye.
What does that mean?
Why, it means that you are capable of perceiving and communing with the dearly departed. Naturally, you have this skill, I would assume.
I haven't tried yet, but you never know.
Well, once again, forgive if I am perhaps a little forward, but I may have something that could help you.
Go on, what is it?
The figure sort of reaches into the folds of their robe again and takes out a palm-sized orb. It looks like the purest crystal, and it is glowing faintly blue. This is the Eye of Scriff. It will help you in perceiving any spectres that might be currently haunting this abode.
Whoa, man, that looks expensive. I don't think I can take this from an old person.
Oh, don't be silly. Ha ha. Hee hee. Ho ho. I do not expect any payment. You just take it and you hold it aloft, call out for the spirits, and they will become visible and audible to you. I ask for nothing in return.
Well, that's the problem. I don't want to take advantage of a poor old person I found in the middle of my friend's house.
It is really no trouble at all. If you really insist, then I would say just why not promise that you will give me assistance at some point in the future. How does that sound? I do you a favor today, and you will do a favor for me later.
All right, that sounds fair enough. He hesitantly grabs the orb.
Excellent. Well, I wish you and your companions the best of luck. Do be careful.
Yeah, the orb's extremely suspicious, but the prince is completely oblivious to that at the moment. Um, he's just going to tuck the orb away for now and go around and try to explore the house and see if he can find y'all.
As you stow away the orb and you climb in through the open window, you find yourself in a fairly nondescript room. And this is where I'll pan back over to the other group, Morningstar, Song, and Moonbeam. As you enter the house, you get the same sort of impression that Prince gets as soon as you enter, which is that there is like a thick layer of dust on everything. Some pieces of furniture that look as old as the house don't seem to have been moved at all. Whereas in other areas, you sort of see the spaces in the dust, if you know what I mean, like dust shadows of furniture that was there and that has been moved, presumably because Charles and Kayla had started moving out the old furniture and were getting ready to move in their things before they realized that something was amiss in the house. How would you like to proceed? Party with the horse.
So I'd be going in the corridor. Yeah, which one's Moonbeam going with?
You must fight for his allegiance. No, sorry. Go ahead, Adelina. Sorry.
I think that if Moonbeam's okay with it, I think that Song would enjoy kind of like perching on Moonbeam as he kind of walks in and walks around a little bit. So we could go together.
So if you imagine this house from above, you've got the door on one side of the house, and then on the side opposite, so all the way around to the other side of the house, there is the other entrance. And then somewhere in between, on one side, there is the window that Prince was able to find that was already open. Song and Moonbeam, you are in a sort of an entrance hall, and you follow this corridor, and eventually you arrive in a kind of welcoming room, a kind of a room that comes before a dining room or something. You know, rich people houses. There's lots of rooms for things that you wouldn't normally consider having. Like a parlor. Meanwhile, Morningstar, you followed the path that goes round to the other side of the house, and you went in through the corridor, and the layout is pretty much identical. There is a long corridor, and you get to a parlor type room. And again, it's a very similar situation. There's sort of the odd piece of furniture that hasn't really been moved, lots and lots of dust, lots of cobwebs. But aside from that, nothing of note yet. Prince, you are in what looks like a pantry. There are lots of shelves along the walls. There are cabinets. Most of them look empty. Some of the shelves have jars and boxes on them, but they all look either empty or very, very much spoiled and not fit for mortal consumption. You can see that there's like a door leading to a hallway beyond. So are you all aiming to meet up first and then go exploring, or did you each sort of want to explore separately?
With Moonbeam, I think our first goal is probably to try to find somebody else in the house, you know, whether that's Prince or whether that's Morningstar. We're just kind of like keeping our eyes out and kind of seeing, hey, can you go through different parts of this house and, you know, find other people in here? Or is there some sort of, you know, that weird illusion stuff that I had seen going on?
So you and Moonbeam are sort of progressing further towards the middle of the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would also be making my way to the middle, because the idea is to try and see if multiple people come in at the same time, if we can overcome that, I don't know, whatever it was that happened to Charles and Kyla that they told us about, where they'd end up back at the beginning. So I'm trying to make my way to the middle.
Okay. And Prince?
Yeah, he tosses some of the rotten food that is obviously spoiled out the window and then does the same.
Excellent. So, separately, as you all move through the house, you almost simultaneously, Morningstar and Song and Moonbeam, you exit the separate parlors that you were in, and you follow like a snaking hallway that kind of goes past several rooms, and there's more pantries. There's lots and lots of rooms, presumably for lots of different purposes. And you get to, both of you, so this is like identical rooms on both sides of the house. Kind of like a sitting room. There are books on shelves. Most of the books are in very bad condition. They're kind of falling apart. They're caked in dust as well. There are some armchairs, some little tables with dust shadow of what might have been like decanters and glasses and things like that. So they look like what potentially could be like a reading room, that kind of thing. And you see on the wall in both rooms a painting of the Van Vendelow family. Augustus Van Vendelow is standing next to another elf who looks perhaps a little bit older than him. And standing in front of them are two young elf girls. They look roughly about the same age. They look like they might be in their whatever counts as elf preteen. In the room where Song and Moonbeam are, the elf girl on the right has been defaced. It has been scribbled on. It's been scribbled on with such ferocity that it's kind of torn the canvas. And meanwhile, Morningstar, the identical family portrait that you see, on that painting, it is the other elf child whose face has been defaced. This one has been doodled on, so she has like a big moustache and an arrow going through her neck, kind of a pirate scar on her forehead, and there's like stink lines.
So something I've been doing, especially as I feel like I'm getting close to the center, I've kind of been talking out loud, just narrating to myself, but also so that just maybe if Song or Moonbeam or Prince hear me, then maybe they'll talk back, and then I guess triangulate position and stuff that way. So I'm talking out loud. And I'm describing this portrait that I see, and I'm kind of giggling about it a little bit because I mean, it's just classic defacing somebody's picture. And, you know, I mean, it's funny to me because I did the same thing when I was young, but now I'm an adult and I'm so mature and I don't do that anymore. But I can appreciate it because it's pretty well done.
Yeah, I think what happens is Prince. So after you've left the pantry that you sort of entered through the window and you've been following this other sort of corridor that leads from there, you do recognize Morningstar's voice not too far away.
I do indeed follow it, and as soon as I find her, I pull out the orb and say, "Hey, look what I found! Some old lady in the house was giving this away."
So I jump a little and turn around. Oh, Prince! Wow! Wait, what? And I look at the orb in his hand. I'm like, wait, what? What is that?
The old lady said we can find ghosts with it.
Wait, what old lady? There's an old lady in the house?
Yeah, she was in the room back there, and I point to the way it came from.
Oh, okay. Did you get a name?
Sorry, I forgot to ask for a name.
Okay. Did they stay back there? Could we go talk to them or?
We could give it a try. They were wearing all these cloaks and stuff. They look cold.
Yeah, let's go see if we can let's go talk to them again. Because they're still there then, you think?
I don't know.
They seem to know. Wait, what did they say that orb can do?
Help us talk to ghosts.
Okay. This is bad. We're not a good combo here. Because now I'm undecided too. I'm like, oh no, should we stay and use the orb or should we go back and try and find the old lady and get more information?
So while that's going on, we'll cut back to Song and Moonbeam. So you've noticed this family portrait as well. Song, you maybe perceive that because this portrait is maybe a little less comical, that Moonbeam looks a little bit unsettled. Not shivering, but doesn't feel like he's comfortable.
This doesn't look too good, Moonbeam.
No, it's somebody certainly had it in for the little girl there. What does it? I think there are some names on the picture frame. I think the one that's been so furiously defaced. I think that one is Kara, and the other one standing next to her is Anna. I suppose the perhaps the house is named after them.
I have the spyglass that I got from my mentor, and I think that I take it out now that we're inside. I know I'd done the detect magic when we were outside, but I take out the spyglass and just really, really give just the room a good look, and especially just like look at the painting, look at the area. I know we're still gonna try to kind of move on towards the center, but I'm very much trying to see if there's anything that I can pick up on.
Yes, absolutely, and we can use the same roll as before. Looking through your spyglass to get like a closer look at maybe the details of the painting and the room around you. Again, you see this sort of erratically fluctuating magic aura that's flowing through the house, and it's going through the painting, it's going through the floor, it's going through the wood paneling on the walls. It's just sort of swirling round and round, and again, every now and again, it gets very, very bright and very, very strong, and you actually kind of have to, because you're right in the thick of it now. You have to avert your eyes because it's just so bright, and then it dims again, and there's no regular rhythm to it. It's just this erratic fluctuation going round and round the house.
So there's not like any areas that I can pinpoint that I kind of see like a core of the magic. It's just very, very erratic, very all over the place.
Yes, there doesn't seem to be like a central focal point anywhere or tracks or trajectory. It's just all around you.
Oh, okay. So do you wanna just try and see if we can find the others?
Yes, I think that would be best. I'm getting a little bit, sorry to use this rather vulgar parlance, but I'm getting a little bit creeped out. I think I can trace my prince's scent, and let's see if we can move along and meet up with them, shall we?
I'm a little spooked too, Moonbeam. I think that sounds good.
In the meantime, what have Morningstar and Prince resolved to do?
Morningstar, realizing that this orb is probably maybe a magical artifact, decides to leave that to, maybe we'll show that to Song and see what she thinks of it before we start trying to use that. But talking to people, that I can do. So I ask Prince, can you show me the way where you've met the old woman? I want to try and talk
Sure,
to
this
them.
way.
So we try to trace his tracks back to where he met the old woman.
Yeah, so you head back to the pantry and you look outside the window where the figure was standing, and there is nobody there.
So they were not in the house, they were outside the house?
Yeah, they were standing right outside the open window that Prince used to get into the house.
I'm looking to see if I can see any traces on the ground, I guess, or like anything.
It's just grass. I guess you can see one set of footprints heading from sort of coming from the path that you all arrived on and ending at the window. Those seem to be Prince's footprints, but no others.
Okay. I turn to Prince. You're sure this is where you met the old lady?
Almost certain, unless we got turned
Okay.
around somewhere.
I mean, that's possible. This house is pretty big. Okay, well, I guess they've left. Maybe let's go back and let's see if we can find Song and Moonbeam by going through the house. I think the reading room we were just in seemed like it was getting there. So let's head back that way. So then we go back.
Sure, I'm sure it can't be too hard to find a massive war horse in the middle of a house.
And maybe let's try calling their names this time. So as we go, this time I'm intentionally calling their names.
This is lovely. So what I imagine happening is that around this point, by pure coincidence, Moonbeam has also very slowly started muttering and then calling out and then almost screaming like, "My prince! Hello! Ah, everything is fine. We're going through the house. Singing my safety song. Prince is somewhere in here. He must be, or else everything is terrible." Eventually, despite the size of this house, you both follow your respective hallways leading out from the reading rooms, and you both emerge into a very large room, which is opulently decorated. There's like a big, long dining table in the middle, lots of sumptuous looking armchairs, framed mirrors and candle holders and chandeliers, all really elegant looking. The two duos, you see each other from opposite ends of this room, and as you come in, you realize that this is very likely the center of the house.
I immediately wave at Prince and Morningstar, and I'm kind of like, oh, it's so good to see y'all. Oh my goodness. And I kind of try to like, knowing that what we know about this house and how it's a little strange, I try to like fly up and see if I can fly like over and across the room, or if it won't let me do that.
I think I first would take a look around. I see them across the way, like, hey, and I wave one of my wings at them, and hey, we found the middle. This is great. We've got something we need to show you, and I start walking forward, to try and meet Song in the middle, I guess. And I'm gesturing at Prince to follow me so that we can show her the little orb thing that he found, or that he was given.
Hey, Moonbeam, how was your little adventure?
As soon as Moonbeam catches sight of Prince, he just lets out a very loud, "My prince!" and just starts full galloping towards you, Prince. And you see that he looks fully prepared to do a massive leap over this table, which he does do. And whilst he's sort of in midair, you see like a little flash of light, and Song, you suddenly hear like very loud galloping hoofbeat behind you. And Moonbeam is now suddenly back at the entrance of the room, trying kind of haphazardly to sort of skid to a halt.
Whoa, Prince, you didn't tell me that your horse was magic. I'm kidding. I know that this must be what Charles and Kyla were talking about.
That's wild.
So when I'm flying over as well, do I like see a or experience a barrier too? Or do I kind of like, how does it feel kind of to be flying slowly through this area?
You are nearing whatever this thing dividing the the house is. You don't really sense anything in the air nearing the middle of this sort of dining room at all. But when you do sort of reach the same point in space that Moonbeam did, you are momentarily dazzled by a bright white light, and you also find yourself facing the other way. Still flying, you're uninjured, you are unharmed, but you are back at the sort of other end of the room where you came in.
Fascinating.
The prince tries to cross to the other side of the room.
The same thing happens to Prince, just on the other side of the dining room. You are dazzled by a bright light, and you find yourself back where you started.
So can we hear each other? Like, can I hear Song and Moonbeam talking on the other side? Or is that also cut off as part of the barrier?
You can see and hear each other perfectly, but you cannot see whatever it is that is dividing this room.
Prince, it doesn't look like we can walk across. Can you hold up? Song, hey, Song, check this out. Prince said that he got this from an old lady and said that we can use it to talk to the departed or something. Can you see anything about it? Like, I know you've got some ability with magic.
I pull out my spyglass and kind of look across the room at it, and I would love to do another detect magic roll to just see. I know it's from far away, but just see if I can, get any sort of vibe from this orb that they're holding up. Let's see. I'm going to spend a point of wit to...
If you are also using one of your inspiration points, I guess, then that would also take a point off the cost. If you wanted to use both of your moments of inspiration, then it would be completely free. You could have a total success, and you just be coasting on your previous successes. You're just feeling so good about yourself.
Song's been having a magic day.
3 points for a total success. So if you were aiming for a total success, you would normally spend 3. But because you are using a skill, that would bring it down to 2. And because you are also using a point of inspiration, that would bring it down to 1.
I'm spending the 1 point for the total success with the inspiration and such.
Okay, excellent. So you spy with your little fairy eye at the orb that is being held aloft by Prince. With this thing, it's very different. You get a very clear feeling of what kind, like the amount of magic that's in this thing, and also what kind of magic it is. It is a very, very sort of specific kind of enchantment on this orb, and it's definitely some kind of magic used to pierce through illusions or to perceive things that are hidden. It's that kind of energy that you're detecting. You can also sense very clearly that it is a divine kind of magic. It is something which has been imbued with magic by a deity.
Okay. So I kind of call out to them. I think that you need to use that orb. We need to use that orb somehow to work through this illusion and work through this magic. I think that might be the answer to what all of our questions are.
Oh, good. When Prince said that he got it from a stranger, it made me a little nervous, but that's good to hear. Okay, Prince, did they tell you how to use it?
No,
Okay,
I'm sure we can figure it out.
well, let's figure it out.
This is
We start.
this is so funny. They definitely told him, but I love that he doesn't. I'm sorry, I just find this very sweet. But yeah, absolutely, figure it out.
So I kind of like hold the orb to, how big is it again? Fist size, you said, right?
Yes, it is sort of average human hand sized.
Okay. I kind of like tap it and I don't know, rub it sort of like, a genie in a bottle kind of thing, like just trying to like open sesame. I'm kidding. I know that's not going to work. Hello, orb. I kind of like, I'm starting to try and look at it from different angles and stuff. Hey, do you have any ideas on how it works? I think we've moved closer to the middle, not quite to the point where people were like vanishing from the barrier thing, but closer so that we don't have to yell as much.
Was there anything that I could detect or sort of figure out about how this object might be activated, or is that sort of beyond my scope of detect magic?
I think you would have gotten the sense that some kind of like verbal command or calling out is probably what is needed to activate it.
Just try to talk to it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Just talk to it.
Okay. Oh, great powerful orb. Um, oh, she said it was like a can see through illusions. Show us the truth. Bring things unseen into sight. And I start looking around to see if that worked.
So as you call out these words whilst you're holding the orb starts to faintly glow. The glow gets brighter and brighter, not dazzling, but eventually it kind of glows as if you were holding a lantern, and it illuminates this room, which up until now had been quite dark and dismal, with only a little bit of light coming through the windows, which are sort of covered in dirt and dust. The dining room you're in is kind of bathed in this sort of slightly eerie blue light. And for a long time, nothing seems different until suddenly, Prince, you hear behind you, "Oh, you have shiny ball. Make bright light.
Yes, hello. Do you know why the room won't let us cross it? You help us figure this out so that my horse's friend can move back in. We can give you the orb.
Do you turn around to look at who's talking to you, or do you just say that without looking?
I say that without looking.
Brilliant. Okay, so Prince, you don't turn around. You just sort of make conversation with this voice that suddenly addressed you from behind. Morningstar and Song and Moonbeam, you all hear it as well, and you do notice where the voice is coming from. It is coming from a very, very tall, broad, and slightly see-through troll who is wearing a combination of furs and studded armor and has like a big club strapped to his back. He's looking at the glowing orb with a very curious expression, and then he sort of looks up from it and notices the rest of you. Oh, you can see Finch?
Uh, hello. Are you Finch? Because yes, we can see you.
The troll lets out like a really big booming laugh. He says, "Oh, wonderful! Ah, Finch hasn't talked to anybody in, oh, many, many, many years. Welcome to my hill."
Your hill?
"Yes, this is Finch's hill. It was my hill many hundreds years ago. Then they put this wooden thing on top, and I think it kind of ruins the view. It was a very good view long ago. Now you can't really see the woods anymore, but if I go over to those holes in the walls, I can kind of see it still. But yes, this is my hill. It was my hill and I died on it."
Oh, this is indeed it's a wonderful hill, right? Right, everyone? It's a wonderful hill.
It's a great hill to die on.
So, Finch, right?
Yes.
Do you know why this house you can't go all the way across from one side to the other?
Oh, what do you mean? Finch can get across. Look. The troll sort of does a kind of sidestep, and he does that thing that I'm sure lots of people will have seen tourists do when they're one of those places in the world where there's like a border between countries or time zones or something like that, and it's on the ground, and they do that really funny thing where they kind of hop from one leg to the other, and they say like, now I'm in, I don't know, now I'm in Finland, now I'm in Norway, and just sort of pointing at himself and saying, "See, no problem. No problem for Finch. You cannot cross."
Yeah, watch this. And I now take my turn to get zapped across back to the beginning of the room.
You would think it would get old after the second time, but it just keeps getting funnier.
Wait, so you have seen this happen before, so you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. But I do
Oh.
not know why.
Oh, when did it first start happening? Do you know that?
Let me think. Well, for a long time, house have people living in, no problem, moving around house. But then they die, and long time pass again, and then new people arrive, young with littler people, I think they're children. They arrive and they also have problem. I thought it was a magic trick. I thought they did it for fun. But I do not know. It did not used to happen. There was no problem when this was just my hill. I walk across it all the time.
Is there anyone else here who lives with you, Finch, or is it just you on your hill?
Ha 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 ha! Live. Very funny. No, just me. I have.
Hmm.
I'm very attached to this hill. I love it a lot. I could go on to the big light, but I want to stay. Even though I am alone here, I do not mind.
What if you don't mind me asking, what is the big light?
Oh, sometimes other ghosts, they stay for a while and then they go poof. There is big light and they are gone. But I'm not interested in that. I'm happy here. I like to wander around.
Did you ever share this place with the ghost of the family that used to live here, or do you know anything about the family that lived here long ago?
Oh, you mean the pointy ear people?
Yes. Yes.
Ah, yes, they build house. They come from the woods with lots and lots of wood, and they build house from nothing. I don't like what it did to the view, but I must admit it is very, very impressive. They live here for a very, very long time. I remember it's long ago, and my memory is maybe sometimes a bit foggy. But I remember that the two little girls, they really, really do not like each other. They, I think, maybe hate. Yes, they hate each other. Very, very sad. I think it made the father very sad.
Oh, that's terrible. Do you know why, or how things got so serious that there were two different doors that they went through in the house?
Oh, I do not remember. Maybe was not there to see the cause of their hate, but I know that with the years it only became stronger. And the father tried many times to have the girls make peace, but it just does not work. And then the father die, and the girls, they grow older and they get house from father. And they continue to hate so much that they live in same house, but it is two house. You understand?
I do, yes, and it's really sad and awful, but we're trying to make this house joyful and nice again for our friends who want to live here. Do you know any way that we might be able to heal this house or something to make it livable for our friends and their daughters who have always gotten along really well?
And he scratches his head.
I don't know any magic-y things. When I was alive, if there was a big problem, I hit it with club. I do not think hit it with my club will help this time.
We could try it.
He kind of shrugs, and then he kind of raises the club up high and then like hurls it crashing down at the floor, but it just passes through harmlessly. And then he looks back at you and shrugs again.
See, I think this problem club-proof, but maybe there is answer outside of house.
I kind of look to Morningstar and kind of see if she has any input or anything that she wants to ask Finch.
So I'm just kind of looking around and I see Song looking at me and just kind of shrug my shoulders and say, well, if there's nothing here to answer, should we try using the globe, the orb in another part of the house, just to see if there's anything else that maybe Finch hasn't seen?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe we could leave the house and sort of meet back up on the other side and see how we might be able to address the magic. You know, if he says that it related to something outside of the house, maybe there's something outside that we can see.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, so Prince, let's go back outside. I think we can probably just use the door this time. Unless you really want to use that window again, then I guess you could.
Yeah, and Moonbeam and I will sort of go out the other direction. Then we can kind of circle up outside the house.
So as we're going back through, I do just stop a little bit in the reading room just to kind of look at all of the books, and I shake my head a little sadly because I can see that the books there's no salvaging them, but I'm sad because I'm sure there were stories that maybe they could have told. And then I continue on. Does Finch follow us? Can he come outside? All the questions.
So when you ask that of Finch, he sort of shakes his head.
No, I am bound to my hilltop. I can maybe look outside of window, but for some reason the walls of this house, they bind me here. I do not know if it is the same thing that has been affecting you living people, but yes, I think maybe the answer is even beyond this hill. Perhaps, I do not know. There is no one else here but me. When the two girls, when they grew very, very old and they died, they did not stay here after. I do not know if they ever made peace with each other, let alone with themselves.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for your help, Finch. We'll probably be back. Thank you. And I try to pat his hand, but obviously it doesn't work. Right.
Please don't
Okay.
do that. It causes me nausea. Please don't do that.
Sorry.
Excuse me. Good luck. I hope you find answers outside. Remember what I said. The answers lie beyond.
See you later, Finch. I hope your nausea gets better.
Yeah, he kind of hurries off and he just leaves through a wall, phases through a wall, clutching his mouth and his tummy. And at that, the orb grows dim. Morningstar, did you say you wanted to look around the reading room one last time?
Well, I guess I would be looking maybe if there's anything that wouldn't disintegrate at my touch.
Unfortunately, sort of most of the tomes and books here do seem to be in a sort of precarious state. There is a book that is slightly better condition. It looks kind of out of place. Most of the books in this room seem to be more like novels and romances and that kind of thing. This one is a bit larger. It looks kind of like a ledger, and it has the initials AVV on the cover.
Maybe I just take it. I kind of flip through it.
As you're flipping through it, as your group sort of make your separate ways out of the house, looking through it, you see that it's mostly spreadsheet type things, accounting, day-to-day costs, and earlier at the beginning of the book, there's actually what looked like schematics or architectural drawings of the house. And there's a sort of, not a diary, but more like a construction log, and it's sort of detailing the various phases of design and construction of the house. And fairly early on, it sort of lists the materials that were used, and you notice that while the sort of glass and metals and stones were sourced locally within Tower View, you notice that all of the wood originates from the local woods. Aside from that, there is no information about the family. It seems to be just completely related to the house's construction, that kind of thing. Fairly dry reading.
So, as I'm reading through this and I see the note about the trees, start thinking about the local trees, and I remember there was a talking tree. And, by this time we're outside, we've gotten together again, I think. And I mentioned this, I point out the ledger to Song and Prince and Moonbeam, and I say, look, this record says that the house was built using local trees. Didn't that boy, Jan, didn't he say something about the talking tree? And did he mention how old the tree was?
Oh, I think that might be a great thing to go see if we can talk to that tree or talk to that treekin.
Does anybody remember where he said the tree was?
Moonbeam, do you know where the tree is?
No, I'm afraid I don't quite recall where the young lad said the tree was, but the only woods I am aware of in this area are the Witchfinger woods. They are not too far, I don't think.
I guess if the little boy found it, it can't be too far, because he can't have gone too far into the woods. Do we dare risk it and just go in and see if we can find this tree, or should we go and ask the boy again for better directions? I guess he was lost, right?
We might have to find it on our own.
Okay, well, let's go. Let's head into the woods.
After having had your brief spectral encounter, you leave this house divided and regroup outside. And you realize fairly quickly that you are not alone. There is a group of people standing nearby, near enough that you can make out their clothes, and in particular their insignias. They are all women, and they are all wearing fairly light plate armor. And over their light plate armor, they're wearing priestly tabards. And they all bear the insignia of a large turnip, which all of you would recognize as the holy symbol of Scrith, who is the local deity of bravery and fighting and courage and honor, and is favored by warriors and knights. They all look fairly physically imposing. They all look like well-trained shield maidens. And standing nearby them is a small hooded figure whose features are not visible. And as you make your way away from the house, this figure turns and points a long spindly finger at your group and cries out, "There, you see? There are the thieves. They are the ones who I saw making off with your holy relic with the Eye of Scrith. There they are, see?" And
Whoa. We didn't do that.
Thank you so much for listening to part 2 of this Stravagante actual play podcast. Song, the fairy mage, is played by Adelina, Morningstar, the harpy minstrel, by Thimble, and Prince Fruner by Corey. The Stravagante theme was composed and performed by Robert Chapman. If you're interested in playing Stravagante yourself, you can find a link to its page on itch.io in this episode's description.